Hey guys, this is Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, and we're back with another Leaks of the Week. This week will feature cards from January 18th through January 22nd, so about 2 weeks still behind, and I do apologize for that, but like I said, I've been really busy with school and with my new job, and every time I come home, I'm just really tired, and Leaks of the Week is usually like an hour plus, and I usually do multiple takes, so Leaks of the Week usually takes me like 3 hours, and I'm just too tired to do so after I, come home. So, like I said, I do apologize, but thank you for bearing with me. But, nonetheless, I will continue doing so. So, anyways, like I said, cards from January 18th to 22nd. So, this is the final week for Monogatari's second season booster. And we will also. And it will still feature cards from Puyo Puyo. Puyo Puyo does come out on the 4th of February, so we still got a good while to go with Puyo Puyo. And this week we'll continue the Puyo Puyo booster and a bit more of the trial deck. But before we get started, I would like to review the 10RR Umi. I don't think she was ever officially leaked, which I find very odd. I don't think we reviewed her on the channel, and I don't think it's right not finishing all the double R's in a set for Leaks of the Week, because as we know, the double R's are the big important ones that we want to talk about. So, before we get started, really quickly, I want to touch up on this 10 Umi. I thought she was leaked because I did see her on the internet a couple weeks back. I was just waiting for her to get released or leaked for me to talk about her, but I don't think we ever talked about her, so I'm just going to talk about her really quickly before we start the rest of the boosters. So anyways, 103k double R. First effect, she's a 500 global for music characters, and her other effect is pay 1, tap her, clock yourself 1 damage. If you do, choose one music character, or choose one character in your waiting room, and return it to your hand. So this 10 Umi, I don't think is very good, and honestly not very necessary. She doesn't really fill any holes. She doesn't really have a niche that can really help out the Love Live decks as of right now. Love Live already has some great back row assists that can also generate us advantage. Prime examples for yellow, we got the 10 Umi that we all know, the 500 global and the plus brainstorm. For green, we have the 10 Nico, 500 globals plus brainstorm. For blue, we have the 500. We have the Kira Kira Sensation Rin, very good card and popular. I mean, for red, they were kind of lacking in the back row department. But honestly, like I said many times throughout this video series, nobody really runs mono red. There's no real reason to run mono red. So she was honestly not very necessary. She's a 500 global, which is nice, and she does have a way to plus you. But her plussing isn't very strong because you do have to clock yourself 1 damage. And of course, because you clock yourself 1 damage, it becomes much more iffier in the later stages of the game. Early level 1, not too bad. Early level 2, mid level 2, depending on how the match is going, you might be able to get away with it. But definitely like a late level 2 till all the way to level 3, it's definitely not worth it. And why run something like this when you can generally run you can run a brainstorm, which gives you the benefit of milling and doesn't have to clock yourself 1 damage. If it hits, awesome, you plus, and you can potentially plus more than just 1 with a brainstorm, unlike this Umi, which will always guarantee you salvaging 1 card. But I mean, the brainstorm is just so powerful because it mills you and can potentially plus you more than just 1. So, kinda, like I said, the movie booster, it's solid, but it could have been better. And this is definitely one of the double R's that it's not very good. I mean, it's not a very strong card on its own, and this is definitely something Love Live didn't really need. So, it's a whatever double R. Definitely not one of the better double R's. I think this is one is worse than the Honoka and the Kotori. So, in my opinion, this is the worst red double R. I don't really see people running this anytime soon. I mean, maybe you could use it with the 10 Maki, because the 10 Maki does need to tap one of your characters to gain more power. So maybe instead of brainstorming, you could do like play Umi, tap her, salvage a music character, then use your other back row to tap and power up Maki. Maybe you could do something like that, but honestly, if you wanted to do that, you could have just used the 10 or the 00 Rin, just brainstorm with Rin and then tap your other character. So, I mean, you could kind of you can do that with the Maki, but honestly, I think the Rin does a better job. So, in the end, like I said, I don't really think there's like better alternatives to her in every color in my opinion, except in red. But like I said, who runs the mono red, unless it's a waifu deck. So in the end, I don't think she's very good or necessary, and I think you can do without her. For the Umi waifu, I'm not too sure because the Umi waifu does have this card. It is like they have this pretty awesome assist, 500 in front, and you can tap 2, choose one character with Umi in its name, give it plus 1k. Can be quite the menace with the 1/1 because the 1/1 is already 7/5, and when it kills something, you get to plus with her gate. So I think like just tapping 2 to power up your big booty Umi, so that way she can guarantee kill something. I think that's better. And if you're constantly tapping 2 to power up your big booty Umi, then you can't really use the effect of the Angelic Angel Umi now, can we? And also, like I said, I don't need to pull it out, but there's 1/0 plus Brainstorm Umi from the very first booster. That is also a very good card, and definitely I think you should be running that over this. So, I think for the Umi waifu deck, your back row should look something like this 0/0 and the 1/0 plus Brainstorm Umi. And if that's the case, there's no real space for this Angelic Angel Umi now, is there? So, overall, I don't think she's really necessary in any build, which is a shame because it's a double R. And the Angelic Angel outfit is just so adorable and good looking. I really wish these were a bit better because I just love the art on this Angelic Angel cards. So awesome, but alas, what can you do? I don't think she's going to be making the cut anytime soon. So now that we finished with Love Live, let's go on to the actual boosters. So once again, they're showing Hachikuchi. Don't know why they're like re-showing cards. I guess it's to remind us like, oh hey, remember this shit? It's fucking broken. But I don't know, maybe it'll be a thing. But anyways, there's her Hachikuchi. Talked about her the first week. Like I said back then, it was really good. Right now, my opinion doesn't change. Still fucking good. 104k R Afternoon Nap, Hachikuchi Mayoi, Strange and Spirit. 500 global for Strange Traits, and another effect, you can pay 2, put her to rest. If you do, search your deck for one character card with the trait Strange, show your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck after. This Hachikuchi, not too shabby, 500 global, and has the solid effect of tapping 2, putting herself to rest to search your deck for a Strange character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand. So far, it seems like a lot of the Monogatari cards are very costless. Like the Suicider, a very good costless card. The 1/0 Hachikuchi, or not Hachikuchi, the 1/0 Shinobu, a very solid costless card. Those cards definitely seem to be staple in their respective colors. The 1/0 Sengoku, a very costless card as well, and can hit pretty decent numbers. So with all this costless shenanigans, maybe you need a good way to pay out climaxes in those games where like you do trigger climaxes really early in your attack phase. I think this Hachikuchi can fill in the void. And also she's a 500 global. So 500 global and a pay 2 tap to search. I don't think she's too shabby. And she's 4k, so she's over the Wingslayer threshold, which is always nice to know. So overall, not too shabby of a card if you're running yellow. You can definitely consider this, just really depends on what your back row is. Of course, it is contradictory with the 0/0 Senjo Gahara Brainstorm because that Senjo Brainstorm does need to tap 2 to search. But I mean, in the case where you don't want to search, but you want to pay out, or where you don't want to brainstorm, but you want to pay out climaxes, this Hachikuchi can get the job done. So overall, not too shabby of a card. I definitely don't think it's staple, but I don't think it's too bad. If you're running yellow, you could definitely consider 1 or 2 of these, and I don't think you can go wrong. So, honestly, I kind of wish this Umi was like a 1/0 pay 2 tap search, kind of like this Hachikuchi, 500 global. Pay 2 tap search. It is more expensive, but I mean, not clocking yourself is a pretty big deal. I honestly wish this Umi was more something like this Hachikuchi, and this Hachikuchi is only an R and she's 4k, unlike this Umi, which is only 3k and it's double R. So, kind of a bummer. I think Love Live already has something like a pay 2 tap search and a 500 global, maybe. I'm not too sure. There's so many cards for Love Live now, but still, kind of wish the Umi was more like this, to be completely honest. Anyways, going on to more Hachikuchi. 3-2 Hachikuchi, once again, we talked about her already. Does my opinion change on Hachikuchi? Hell no, she's still very good. And I honestly think she'll be the healer of choice for the new boosters to come. Next up, we got 3-2 10k double R, Bearman, Risukuma Senpai, Puyo and Science. So what this guy does, I think he's a fairly interesting card. Continuous, if your opponent has 3 or less climaxes in his waiting room, this card loses 1 level in your hand. That's already like, what the hell? Second effect, when it's played from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a climax, send this card to memory. At the beginning of your draw phase, select up to 1 character named Risukuma Senpai in your memory and place it onto any border of this card on your stage. Of course, Risukuma Senpai is himself. Lastly, when it's played from hand to stage, or from memory, you may send the top card of your clock to your waiting room. So Risukuma Senpai, I think he's fairly interesting. He can come out at level 2 if your opponent has 3 or less climaxes in their waiting room, which I'm sure is bound to happen. If they don't have more than 3 climaxes in their waiting room, you can potentially deal a lot of damage. Honestly, it really is just depending on what your opponent is playing and like how the match is going. If your opponent has like a free refresh, then this will be pretty easy to get off, like if you're playing up against Index. But just, I guess, kind of depends on how the match goes. But even if you don't get to play him at level 2, it's not the end of the world, because at level 3 he is still a healer, and he's 10k. So like he's pretty much like a 10k healer, but that's still not too bad. But I think what makes him really cool is the fact that he has a chance of healing you twice, which I think is totally awesome. Because of course, when he's played from hand to stage, he heals. But when he's played from memory, he also heals as well. And his on-play ability is mandatory. And if you do hit a climax, then he sends himself to memory. And so when he comes back, he'll heal you as well. So you play him, you heal, then you do his second effect. You reveal the top card of your deck if it's a climax, send it into memory, and then at the beginning of your next draw phase, he'll come back, and then he'll heal you once again. So he can potentially heal you twice, which is really cool. But the down part is you must reveal a climax. And of course, revealing a climax is fairly low, since of course there's only 8 in your deck. So the chances of him hitting a climax can be kind of low. And even if he does hit a climax, it's not the greatest thing ever. Because now you know, oh shit, the top card of my deck is a climax. You probably want to like put it away. Maybe you could brainstorm it away, or you could just like trigger it, and then you'll just have to plan in the future to pay it out soon, because you don't want to leave that climax in your stock. Also, him sending himself to memory is cool because you get the double heal, but maybe when you like, let's say you're level 2, you play Risukuma Senpai. So you can contest against your opponent's level 3, but if Risukuma Senpai, like you play him at level 2, you reveal top, if it's a climax, you send into memory, and then if he was your answer to like your opponent's big body level 3 at level 2, you can't really do that anymore because Risukuma is in your memory, and if you have another one in your hand, then the same shit is going to happen, You get the double heal off, yes, but I'd imagine there will be situations where you want Risukuma Senpai now, that way you can answer your opponent's threat, or you could just deal more damage, because he is 2 soul. But in cases where he does send himself to memory, it might hurt your game plan. Also, if you're running low on resources, like if you have like 4 cards in your hand, you play 2 characters, so now you have like 2 cards, you play Risukuma Senpai, he sends himself to memory, you'll have 1 card in your hand, and maybe you can't play it, and maybe in those situations where you're running low on resources, Risukuma's second effect might actually hurt you more when he sends himself to memory, because that turn you might not be able to fill in where Risukuma would have been and get a third attack in. So overall, I think he's a fairly interesting card. I really like the double heal concept. I think that's super awesome. I think it's a lot of fun. And like his first condition, I think is really cool and interesting as well. But honestly, but I definitely see how his second effect can be a downside, which is good because you double healing for no downside can be pretty OP maybe. But still, I still think that double heal is very strong, and I think he's a very cool and interesting double R. So I think he has potential for the future. I definitely like him more than that last double R green we saw last week. I forgot her name. It was like Fetty, was it? The healer for green. Wasn't a big fan just because like she can potentially guarantee damage at the end stage of the game for your opponent, and that's never really good. So I like Risukuma Senpai more in that regard. I think he's the second healer we've seen so far, and I think he's really cool and very fun and interesting. So I'm quite excited to see where Risukuma Senpai ends up being when the set actually comes out. Is Lee Suko Kempo? He's a dude, right? But he's got like, is that like pink nails? I mean, I guess guys can have pink nails, but usually kind of a girl thing. But I don't know. I'm not too sure. That's just me rambling. But anyway, overall, I really like him. I think he's a lot of fun and really cool. And in the end, I do think the double healing will be like, I think it'll be more of a benefit for the player running the Sukuma Senpai. I think it'll usually be more of a plus than a downside, but we'll see. We'll see. But in certain situations, I definitely can see his second effect being more of a downside than a plus side. But I still think he's really strong. Not really strong. I think he's strong. Maybe like 8 out of 10. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But I like him a lot. He has a lot of potential in my opinion. Let's go on to Morty Sukuma Senpai. 2-1. Oh, those aren't nails. Duh, he's a bear. Those are his little paw prints. I see. Oh no, are those nails? No, those are his paws. Those are his paws. I'm stupid. Those aren't his nails. Never mind. I'm not gonna explain, but they're his cute little paws. Never mind. Experiment start. Sukuma Senpai. Puyo and science trait. When you have a card named Sukuma Senpai in your clock, loses 1 level in your hand, so of course the level 3. Combos with this book right here. It is a climax common. When the climax name Experiment Big Success is played in your climax zone, and this card's in the front stage, search up to 1 character with the trait Puyo and show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck after. So Risukuma, or this 2-1, kinda cool, can come out at level 1 if you have him in your clock. Not the greatest condition, but still not too hard to accomplish. He'll be a 1175, so pretty big body at level 1, and he is impervious to suicides, and last week I do believe we saw a 2k backup, so keeping him around with the 2k backup shouldn't be too difficult. And when you play the book, you get to get a free search for any Puyo character. You don't have to reverse anything, so it is a guaranteed search. So kind of cool in that regard, but still these 2-1s that come out at level 1, they do they do scale somewhat poorly into the late game, because once you hit level 2, playing a 2175 is very lackluster. And then even like if you play it with the book, still you're kind of paying 1, and it's only breaking even to search. So I don't think it's very, I mean, in level 1 he's very strong. Not very strong. At level 1 he's alright, but like thereafter he's like kind of meh. He's like whatever. So I'm not really a fan of these cards, but just depending on what blue has and what other options they get, maybe he will be necessary, but I'm sure they'll get better options than this 2-1, so I don't think he's too shabby, but I think there are better cards you could be running than this Experiment Star Sukuma Senpai. Next up, we got the 00500R Chemical Reaction of Love, Risukuma Senpai, Puyo and Science. 500 in front assist, and he has another effect of pay 1, send this card to your waiting room. Look at up to top 4 cards of your deck, then select up to 1 character with a Puyo trait, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then place the remaining cards to your waiting room. So this Chemical Reaction of Love, Risukuma Senpai, I don't think he's too bad, or she, not too sure what this, I think it's a dude. Not too sure what this character is, but anyways, I'll just call it Senpai. So Senpai, not too bad. 500 front assist, always nice. And secondary effect can be pretty cool. You know, usually there are games where you want to play your higher level assist in the back row, and when that time comes, usually you move your level 0 assist to the front row. But usually those level 0 assists are very, how do I say, you know, very low impact. You know, since they're in the front row now, they probably don't really have an effect. And usually you're going to be forced to side or forced to direct attack with them. But in this case, when you want to move Risukuma Senpai to the front row, after you're done using him, you know, it's like level 2 now, you want to play a level assist, you want to make space in your back row, you can, instead of moving Risukuma Senpai to the front row, something that a normal level 0 assist would do, instead you can use Risukuma's second effect to get a search off. You can pay 1, kill himself, look at top 4, and then choose a Puyo character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck, or then place the remaining cards. Kind of cool. The pay 1 can be used to, like, you know, pay out climaxes, and also you can discard any card. So the card you discard can be something like a Climax, so it can be pretty nifty before you refresh as well. So overall, I think Yusukuma Senpai, the level 0 assist, I think he's not too bad. Level 0 assist and a pretty nifty secondary effect that can be pretty clutch in certain situations. So I think it's not too bad. I don't think we've seen a better level 0 assist for blue yet. Not that I can think of in my head. You know, yellow, they have the plus brainstorm, so that's really good. But for blue, I think the Senpai is a fairly solid assist, so pretty cool. And it's only an R, and I definitely think he's a pretty cool R, so not too shabby in my opinion. Definitely has some potential to being played, I think. More Puyo 1045R Kikimora, Puyo and Housework. When this card is played from hand to stage, you may pay cost, which is place one card from your hand to the waiting room. If you do, all players' waiting rooms are sent back to the deck, then the deck is then shuffled. So Kikimora, pretty interesting. It's like a forced refresh for both you and your opponent. But it's kind of cool, but I don't think it's very good. First of all, it's a level 1, and it's only 4/5, so very, very, very low power level 1. Also, you do have to minus yourself, because you have to discard a card from your hand to the waiting room to get the free refresh off. And, you know, of course, losing hand size isn't always the greatest thing ever. And also, it's not always good in every situation. Like, maybe your opponent has a bad refresh, or maybe your opponent is, you know, maybe you might really need to refresh. But if your opponent really needs a refresh as well, then you might help yourself and your opponent out with this. Her effect is what I'm trying to get at. And so, you know, I think you're better off maybe just brainstorming or like playing on-play mill 3s to mill through your deck faster. Yeah, you take the refresh damage, but still, she's just very low power, and she's not going to be useful all the time. And you do have to minus yourself when you want to use her effect. So, I mean, she's kind of cool. In some games, she can be really helpful for you. So maybe like as a tech 1, maybe you can get away with 1. But definitely, if you want to run this Kikimora, I would only recommend 1. I would never go higher than 1. So, definitely, I think it's more of a tech card and maybe a player's preference card, like a flex card. So, you know, if you have space for one more level 1 and you want a edgy techie card, you can consider this Kikimora, because she can, you know, help you out a lot in certain games. But definitely, like I said, I think a tech card and is staple, not at all. But, you know, if you want to run 1, then you can go ahead, because she really can be strong in certain situations. Next up, we got 00500 uncommon high tension Suke Todara, Puyo and Chest. Chest, like, I don't know, probably like treasure chest. Pretty funny card. When this card is played from your field, play from hand to stage, your opponent will declare either 0, 1, 2, or 3. If the top card of your deck revealed is the same card, or the same level as declared as your opponent, place that card onto any border on your stage. Other effect, when your opponent plays a climax onto your climax border, on your climax area, you may put this card into your clock. So this high tension Suke Todara, the first effect reminds me of this stupid card in My Hime. My friend runs it, and it's pretty lousy, but you play it, your opponent declares 0, 1, 2, or 3, and if it's the same card as and then you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the same, you play it. So if your opponent declares 3, and then you reveal the top card, and if it's 3, they are fucked, because you have a level 3 at level 0, and you pay no stock for it, and your opponent's gonna cry. But of course, very gimmicky. It can be pretty strong, like, even if your opponent calls 0 and you reveal a level 0, you still +1. So no matter what your opponent declares, and if it successfully goes off, you do +1, which I think is really cool. It's a costless way to +1. Of course, it's very gimmicky and very unreliable, because you must reveal the top card, and it's very dependent on what your opponent says. Usually when I play against this card, I declare 0. If it goes off, because, you know, declaring 0 is the safest option, but it has the highest chance of going off, because I'm sure we all know level 0s do constitute the majority of a player's deck. So 0 is like the safest option, but it's the most probable option that's going to happen. And when I do declare 0 and my friend gets an extra level 0 at level 0 for free, it kind of sucks, but I think it's definitely more safer than calling 2, 3, or 1. Actually, maybe you could say 2, because of how the meta is. Most decks don't run level 2. Maybe some decks don't even run level 2s at all, so maybe you can declare 2, and maybe you could be safe against that. We'll see. Honestly, just kind of depends on how the Puyo decks turn out to be. But still a little too gimmicky for my taste. Yellow has a lot of good cards now. They have like the stock Suicider. They got the plus Brainstorm. So I don't think Yellow really needs any help. Oh, they have the 004K double R on play mill 2. So I don't think Yellow really needs any more help for like splashing colors. So I don't really think this guy's necessary. But still a very fun card in my opinion. Second effect, kind of cool as well. When your opponent plays a Climax, you can put him to your clock, so you can dodge on reverse Climax combos. Of course, like I said many times, can be pretty cool. You can dodge 1-0 combos like Shinobu, Tachibana, the list goes on and on. Minami, the list goes on and on. So can be cool in that regard as well. But still, I think you're better off with better cards. Very funny card. If you want to run one, go ahead, because it's really cool and funny. And you can have a good time with your friends with this guy. But still, if you want, I think in a serious deck, you're better off without him. Maybe you can run one, and then for the lols. Just run one for the lols, maybe. But anyways, on to more cards. We got 1055R Total Defeat Sudoku Kanbaru. Strange and Sports. Experience when you have I Have No Regrets Sudoku Kanbaru in your level area. This card gets plus 15. What? 107k? Busted. When this card is reversed in battle, you cannot activate any Encore abilities until the end of the turn. Before we get to it, I just want to remind you guys, I Have No Regrets Sudoku Kanbaru, I'm sure you guys can guess, is the level 3 right here. We talked about her a couple weeks ago, and my opinion on her stays the same. I think she's fairly cool. But will she be played? I'm not too sure. But I really do think she's kind of cool. Especially now that there are more cards that synergize with her, which is this Sudoku Kanbaru. I mean, if you have this level 3 in your level up area, she's a 107k, which is ridiculous. Of course, when she does get reversed in battle, you cannot use the Encore ability. And maybe in the first booster that would have been a bad thing, because usually in the first booster many people ran the lovers, Senjo and Araragi. That one did have hand Encore, but now we don't need that card no more. Now we got Monogatari second season booster, and a lot of the level 1s in the Monogatari second season booster does not really need Encore. Like Wano Shinobu, there's no Encore. Wano Sengoku, no Encore. The Wano Suicider, Kanbaru, no Encore. So you not being able to Encore, it's not really a bad thing. Level 2, they haven't revealed much impressive level 2s, but still, you don't really need to Encore. And at level 3, none of the level 3s have like inbuilt Encore. The level 3 Kanbaru from the very first booster did have hand Encore, but honestly, I don't think that card is necessary at all anymore. So her downside, quote unquote, isn't really a downside, because I don't think you're going to be encoring very often in your Monogatari second season booster. So I think she's really cool. If you're running green, and if you're running a lot of these level 3 Kanbarus, then perhaps you can consider one of these 1-0 Kanbarus. I like it a lot, but I don't really think it'll be ran too often, because to make this consistent, because you must have a level 3 Kanbaru in your level area by level 1. To make it consistent, you're going to either have to A, run a lot of these Kanbarus. Like I said when I reviewed her, I don't think she's a card you're going to be running that many copies of. I would go like 2 or 3 max. Definitely not a playset. Like, you really don't need a playset of this card. So like, you're going to either have to run a lot of her to make this card more consistent, or you're going to have to be running those like level up swapping cards, like the 500 global Kanbaru, the one that on plays you like swap the level 3 into your level area, or those cards where you just swap cards in your level area with a card in your waiting room. You might have to run cards like those to make this more consistent, but is that worth it? I'm not too sure. And you're also going to be needing green in your level up area at level 1, and that might not be the greatest idea ever. In the very first booster, that was a popular trick or a popular play to do, having a level 3 Kanbaru in your level up area. But nowadays, I'm not too sure because the level 1 is probably going to constitute mainly of yellow, which is definitely going to be the 1 Shinobu. And if you're forced to level up this green card when you're running a lot of yellow level 1s, like I said, because of the 1 Shinobu, then it might hurt your deck more because I definitely think that 1 Shinobu is going to be staple. I'm sure we all know it's going to be staple, so is this card worth it? It can be really strong. I mean, a 107k is ridiculous, but you know, you might be hurting your deck creation on your deck as a whole to make this consistent, and also you're going to be hurting your color at level 1 to make this more consistent as well. So, is it worth it? I don't know, we'll see. You know, it's been out for a while. The boosters has been out for a while now. I've seen a couple builds, but I don't think I think it hurts your deck too much as a whole to make this consistent. Maybe, you know, we'll see. Maybe it'll become more popular as time goes on. I think it has potential. I think it's really strong. I mean, a 107k, but still, the other cards in yellow are very powerful as well. And you can hit 107k on offense with like the 1-0 Sengoku yellow card that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So I like it a lot, but will it be ran? I don't think so because, like I said, it kind of hurts your deck a lot to make it consistent. Let's go on. 2 17k commons, Serious Showdown, Sudoga Kambaru, Oddity, and Sports. When the card declares an attack or is front attacked, you may place the top card of your deck to the waiting room. If that card is a strange character, this card gets plus 2/5 power until the end of the turn, so it will be 9/5. Combos with the Climax Youth and Distinction, which is the stock 1 soul. When this card declares its Climax Youth and Distinction on your Climax border, discard all cards in your hand to the waiting room, then draw the same amount of cards as your previous hand. So you attack, if you have 5 cards in your hand, discard them, then draw 5. Kind of cool. It's like freaking card destruction in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards banned now, but still, I think it's kind of cool. The first effect is like whatever. Honestly, I think as a whole, I think this card is cool, just cause I think our Climax combo is hilarious and awesome, but it's not going to be ran, let's be honest. It's 217k, which is very low power. When she attacks or is front attack, you mill the top. If it's a strange character, she gets plus 2/5, so she'll be 9/5, which is alright, but that honestly, like level 2s will still, or level 3s that come out of level 2 will still probably run over her. And her Climax combo, as cool as it is, it's probably not the greatest thing ever. You know, this combo's only really good if your hand is terrible. You know, if your hand is good, then there's no point in playing this combo ever. And I think there are better combos you could be running, like, of course, the Shinobu Climax combo and a Climax combo that we will see on Friday. So, I like the idea, but low stats and very situationally useful Climax combo. Don't really recommend this card. I definitely think you could be running much better cards than this. But I think it's really cool. I really like the combo. I think it's hilarious, but we'll pass. Next up, we got 002k common. This is a fairly interesting card. 3 Wishes, Gaien Isuko. Strange and Headphones, lols. 3 Wishes, I get it. But anyways, when this card is played from hand to stage, choose one of your other characters. It gets plus 1500 power and the following 3 abilities until the end of your opponent's next turn. Get it? Because 3 Wishes. But anyways, the 3 effects the character gains is, during this card's battle, you cannot play any backup from your hands. Second effect, this card cannot declare a side attack. Last effect, when this card is reversed in battle, you cannot activate any encore abilities for the turn. So Gaien, I think it's kind of cool. You give one of your characters plus 1500 power, which is quite a lot. However, there are some downsides to it, like you cannot play backups, you can't side attack, and you can't encore that character, or you can't encore for the turn. The third effect, it's not that bad at all, because like I said, I don't think this set is going to be very encore heavy. However, you not being able to back up your character can be pretty bad, and as you can see here, it does last till the end of your opponent's turn, so it will matter. And your character cannot declare a side attack, which can be bad, but honestly, if you're giving a character plus 1500 power, I don't think you're really going to be side attacking. And it seems like this effect is mandatory because you choose one of your other character gets plus 15. So I don't think this card is necessary. If you wanted a card that gave extra power, you could probably just run the 0-0 Ononoki that we saw, the double R 0-0 Ononoki, because that card does give power as well. And you're probably going to be running 3 to 4 of those Ononokis anyways. So, just run her to get the extra power you need. And also, if you want 1500 power, you can also side attack with the Hachikuchi. And don't forget, she gives extra 1500 when she does declare side attack. So, I like the idea behind this Gaian. I think it's cool and all. But honestly, with Hachikuchi giving extra power on side attacks and the 0-0 Ononoki giving more power on play, I really don't think this Gaian is necessary. 002KR, oh this freaking card, student of Suzuran Academy, Ringo, Puyo, and Science. She's pretty much level 0 Riki. On play, from hand to stage, you may pay cost, which is pay 1 clock yourself. If you do, search your deck for a level 1 or lower character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Like I always said, this ability, like I say many times in this video series, this effect is freaking broken. Main reason why this Hachikuchi is really good. Exact same effect. This one's no exception. Very powerful. Definitely run 3 to 4 of this Ringo, because on play, pay 1 clock yourself, search for level 1 or lower, is too damn powerful to pass up. And it's only a fucking R too, so get your hands on these. It might be a $20 R like fucking Riki in Little Busters. I'm not too sure how expensive that card is anymore, but still should be really strong. Why couldn't Love Live get this, for fuck's sake? Anyways, let's go on to more gimmicky cards. 0-0 1500 common green Puyo, so just like the blue Puyo from last week. Seems like maybe every color will have a Puyo for their color, and they will have gimmicky cards to follow along with it. But anyways, green Puyo. You may play any number of cards with this same name in your deck, so you can have a million green Puyos. Continuous for every other green Puyo on your center stage, gets plus 2k. So just like the blue Puyo, if you have 2 of these, if you have a full field of green Puyos, it will be a 0-0-5-5. But what makes these guys cool is of course the synergy behind them with other cards, which we will talk about right now. So 105KR, Prince of the Sea, Ocean Prince. Is that really necessary, Prince of the Sea, Ocean Prince? Like, if you're the Ocean Prince, you're clearly the Prince of the Sea. But if you're a Prince of the Sea, you're clearly the Ocean Prince. I don't know. Anyways, when this card is played from hand to stage, you may pay cost, which is discard a green Puyo. If you do, search 1 Fever Mode from your waiting room, return it to your hand, and this card gets plus 1k till the end of the turn. So, Green Puyo, or Fever Mode I should say, is this 2-2 event right here, Fever Mode. I think this card is pretty hilarious. Brainstorm, place the top 7 cards of your deck to the waiting room, deal X damage to your opponent, where X is the number of green Puyo amongst those cards. So, I think this card is awesome. You mill 7 and you deal X, so you can potentially deal 0 damage, or you could potentially deal 7 damage. If you're dealing 7 damage, it's probably going to be cancelled, but if it sticks, your opponent will probably be very, very salty. So, obviously this is more of a gimmicky card. If you're running the green Puyo deck, why not run this? It's freaking hilarious. And this might be like the only game ender for like the green Puyo deck. I mean, if you're running a green Puyo deck, of course you can still run the clock shooter we talked about last week. But still, pretty hilarious win condition for the green Puyo deck. So if you're running the green Puyo deck, why the hell not? Run 1 or 2 of these because it's pretty hilarious. And also, it is of course salvageable by the Ocean Prince. And the Ocean Prince is costless. And the cost to get back the Fever Mode is costless as well. So you can like spam this Fever Mode combo. You can play 1 Fever Mode in your hand, mill 7, your opponent eats like 3 for example. You play the Ocean Prince, you discard a green Puyo, you grab back the Fever Mode, you play it again, and then you burn your opponent for like 5. I think that's pretty cool. So in a green Puyo deck, I would totally run these. I run like 36 green Puyos, 4 Ocean Prince, 2 Fever Modes, just keep building stock, keep poking them with Fever Modes, and have a fun time. So, definitely, obviously these 2 cards are for the gimmicky deck, but I think it's pretty fun. So, if you're running green Puyo, why not run these? I think it's hilarious. Let's go on to Wednesday. So finally, 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Narako. We talked about her like, 3 weeks back, and she's finally here. 3-2 double R, 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Narako. So she is a level 3 Very cool. When this card is played from hand to stage or via the auto ability of the god of Kita Shirahebi Shrine, Sengoku Naruto, look at up to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add one of them to your hand, and discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. Just a quick reminder, the god of Kita Shirahebi Shrine is, of course, the level 3 we talked about a couple weeks ago. And when this card declares an attack with the climax for the sake of her dream, which is this pants right here, so I was right. When we were looking at all the climaxes, I did think this was going to combo with the 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Naruto, and it did. But anyways, when it attacks with the pants, right? It's a pants, right? I'm getting old. Yeah, it's a pants. So when this card declares an attack with the pants, mill top 5, deal X damage to your opponent, where X is the number of climaxes amongst those, and she gets plus 5k power until the end of the turn. So 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Naruto, she's finally here, and we finally know what she does. And I think she's really cool. It seems like she's gonna be kind of reserved for like a Sengoku waifu deck. And as of right now, Sengoku waifu didn't really have a game ender. Like the level 3 from the very first booster just searched out more Sengokus. The last booster I don't think got a level 3 Shinobu. And so now, for all those guys who want a Sengoku waifu deck, it's totally possible. And Sengoku, very cute and all, very, very cute, and voiced by the lady Kana Hanazawa herself. I'm sure is very popular. Now, Sengoku waifu has a deck, has a game ender, and I think it's really cool. Place from hand to stage, or via the change ability of the level 3, you get to look at top 3, add one of them to your hand. Of course, the card you're going to be looking for is, of course, the pants. That way you can try to game end. Or if you don't hit one, you can try grabbing another 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Naruto. So that way you can kind of like loop them. Like play Sengoku, search out, look top 3. Oh, there's no pants, but there's a level 3 Sengoku. Play it, look at top 3. Kind of go from there. Can be kind of cool. Or if you have like 2 Sengokus in your hand and you're just looking for the pants, play like Sengoku, so look top 3, no pants, okay. Play Sengoku, look at top 3, oh, no pants, try again. So her first ability, very cool to guarantee the climax combo. And her climax combo, of course, just like Ranko, pretty strong. You play the climax, you mill top 5, deal X to your opponent, and she gets plus 5k till the end of the turn. 5k, pretty ridiculous, she'll be 14-5. Pretty much 15-5 because she's getting plus 6k power, because don't forget the 1k 1 soul from the climax itself. She'll be essentially 15,500 on offense, which is really scary. She'll probably kill anything in her path. And of course, the damage you deal is pretty random, just depends on how compressed you are and how good your luck is. So overall, I think she's really cool. I'm really glad the card, the level 3 that we talked about earlier, did grab another level 3, because I think it increases the playability of this card by a ton, and I think it makes the Sengoku waifu deck a lot more appealing to play and make because of how powerful this can be. Of course, now that we actually know what 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Naruto is, we can give a better judgment of her respective level 3. So now, like we said, her level 3 can come out earlier. Her level 3 can come out at level 2 if you have the level 0 Stock Suicider and the new level 3 in the level up area. So now that now that she is a level 3, you can run more experience heavy cards based on this, because now by level 1 you can have a level 3 in your level up area. A couple weeks back when I was reviewing her, I did think what this level 3 was could change the playability of this combo a lot, because the God Sengoku Naruto was level 0, and if this was like a level 1 or a level 2, then it would hurt the experience too much. Oops. But now that we know it's a level 3, your experience won't be hurt too badly by running this combo, so I think that's really cool. And everything else, I think, is a lot better. Of course, if you're running this combo, you still need to run the, what was it called again? Kuchinawa? You still need to run the Kuchinawa event, but still, I think it's really cool now, because you play her at level 2, you get the Kuchinawa in your waiting room and place it underneath her as a marker, and then when she dies, you get to play another level 3. Low power, which I think is understandable, because she can come out because you're dealing with 2 level 3s at level 2, which I think is totally awesome. It's like, play level 3 Sengoku, get a marker, She attacks. Your opponent has to deal with her. If she dies, bam, another level 3 comes out, and the new level 3 on play will look at top 3 and add you a card, so it does plus you as well. So overall, I think 4-Lock Girl Sengoku Nadeko is really good, especially for the Sengoku waifu deck. And because I think she's pretty good, I think the playability of the old level 3, or the level 3 we talked about a couple weeks ago, I think the playability of this combo does skyrocket as a whole as well. But, I say this for the Sengoku waifu deck, but as a whole, will this be ran in your normal Monogatari decks? I am not too sure. I think we can all agree yellow is going to be a staple color. Very, very powerful. Now, what other colors you run with it is the question. Green now has some pretty good cards. We have the Clock Shooter. What's her name? I can't remember her name. Hanakawa, that we talked about last week. We also have some cool level 0 tech cards for green. And also, if you're running green, you have the option of playing this level 3 Kanbado as well, giving you an extra level 3 to come out of level 2. If you run red, you can run the level 1 Suicider, and the next card we'll talk about next week, or the next day. And for blue, you only have the level 0 Ononoki and this Sengoku. I can't really think of any other good level 3s you could be running. Or I can't think of any other good blue cards you could be running, I think the best blue cards are the level 0 Ononoki, and how can I forget, the level 0 Hanakawa assist we talked in the very first week. So, lots of competition. Will she make the cut? I'm not too sure, and I think I'll go more in detail on that when we talk about Friday. So, I think she's fairly solid, but solid enough? I'm not too sure, so we'll see. But I still think the card we'll see on Friday will overshadow this. Next up, 002K Uncommon, Unreciprocated Love, Sengoku Nadeko, Strange and God. During your opponent's turn, when this card is in the middle border of your center stage, this card gets plus 2k power. So when she's in the middle, during your opponent's turn, she'll be 4-5, which is pretty strong. But of course, she still gets blown up by Suiciders. I'm not too sure how necessary this is. I honestly don't think blue is going to be a mainstay color for Monogatari. But if it does, if you do want to run blue, I don't think it's too hard to splash blue into your decks anymore, because we got the level 0 Ononoki, double R, very good, strong blue card. And we also have the level 0 Hanakawa assist. I think it's a strong level 0 assist. If that card is going to be popular, who knows. But I think those two cards alone will make it easy enough to splash blue. And I don't think this card will be necessary, because you already have another number of good ways to splash blue as it is. So don't think it's very necessary. I think you could be running better beaters than this. Oh, the Pants is a Climax rare. Okay. On to more cards for Puyo. 3-2 R, Teacher Accord, Puyo and Teacher. Oh man, this card's only an R? Damn. Anyways, once cards play for hand to stage, you reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Puyo character, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Of course, damage can be cancelled as per usual. When the damage this card deals is cancelled, the card gets plus 2k power until the end of the turn. And lastly, when this card reverses its opponent in battle, choose one of your Puyo characters and gets plus 2k power until the end of the turn. So Teacher Accord, I don't think it's too shabby, especially for an R, mainly for the first effect. The first effect, on play, burn 1 to your opponent. Strong ability, that ability alone is well worth running just for that effect. Definitely can help you. If you hit a climax, very good. If it sticks, you can change your attack accordingly. And of course, that means only an R. And of course, it does get past anti-damage. Or not anti-damage, I should say anti-damage backups. Because since this does happen during your main phase, your opponent can't really respond to it. So, lots of plus sides to this for the on-play burn 1. And she has some nifty secondary effect as well. When her damage is cancelled, she gets plus 2k power. So she'll be 12k, not bad. If it sticks, your opponent just ate 2 damage, which is always really good. If it's cancelled, which is somewhat likely, just depending on the game state. But if her damage is cancelled, she'll be 12k before assist, which is of course very good as well. And other cool things she can do is she attacks, before damage goes through. your opponent backups, so they back up, and then let's say your opponent's like 13k. Let's say your teacher cord is 11.5. She has a level assist behind her. She attacks. You trigger like a plus soul, so she's 3 soul. Your opponent backs up. Now your opponent's character is like 13k. You deal 3 damage. Sorry about that. Had to tell my sister to keep it down. But anyways, so what was I saying? So let's say your teacher cord 11.5. You attack. Your opponent backs up. Your opponent's character is now 13k. You deal 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. It gets cancelled. Now she gets plus 2k power. Now battle conducts. And then your opponent's backed up. However, it's too late because now your teacher cord is 13.5 and your opponent's character will die. So you can do some cool gimmicky stuff like that. And lastly, when this card is reversed, reverse your opponent in battle. Choose one of your other Puyo character and gets plus 2k power. The extra 2k can be nice because now we know the set has a clock shooter. And if this set has any other on reverse dependent level 3s or on reverse dependent level 3s, then of course Teacher Accord can help them out in that regard. So yeah, overall Teacher Accord for an R I think is very solid. First effect alone makes it very playable. The second effect can be pretty cool. I mean, getting extra 2k for when your opponent cancels, hey, why the hell not? It already has a greater first ability. And the third ability, giving your character's an additional 2k, hell, why the hell not? So overall, for an R, I think it's very solid. Lastly, 001KR, student of Primp Magic School, SIG. Your opponent character, or your Puyo on Bug Tree. Anyways, your other character in the middle border of your center stage need the following ability. They cannot be put to reverse by your opponent's card effects, so pretty much they can't be reversed by Suiciders, which is always really nice. And he's a Brainstorm. You can pay 1, put into rest, middle top 4. For every climax amongst those, you get to salvage a card. So Sig, not too shabby at all. Plus Brainstorm, like I say, always very nice. And also, you only have to put him to rest, which is also very good. If you have like 2 Sigs, you can use them both. Or if you have another character, or if you have another card effect that requires you to tap, then you can use your other character to tap for it as well. So not too bad at all. Sig being a plus Brainstorm that only requires him to tap himself, I think makes him very playable. He has a good first effect as well. Not always the greatest, especially if your opponent doesn't run any Suiciders, but can be good in certain matchups. And lots of strong sets, like I say many times, does have Suiciders, and in those matchups, her first effect can be very useful in that regard. So yeah, overall Sig, great second effect with a somewhat nice first effect depending on the matchup. So yeah, overall has my stamp of approval, only an R, so I think he's fairly solid. 1045 uncommon, a little selfish Ocean Prince. What the hell? Huh. The Ocean Prince looks a lot different. Is this the same Ocean Prince? Anyways, what this card does is Puyo and Royalty. When this card is played from hand to stage, this card has power plus X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of Puyo character you control multiplied by 500. So with a full field, he'll be a... He does include himself, so 7k, 107k. And lastly has another effect where when this card is played from hand to stage, you may pay cost, so just pay 1, discard a card. If you do, choose one running away from his peers, Ocean Prince, from your waiting room and place it onto the original border of this card in rest. The card that he changes into is this one right here, 2/1 8k uncommon, running away from his peers, Ocean Prince. I mean, the Ocean Prince is totally a girl, right? So why is it the Ocean Prince? I'm not too sure. I mean, it looks like a girl. He's wearing a skirt, like a girl. So I believe it's a girl. Might be some saber shenanigans going on, but I think it's a girl. Anyways, when the card declares an attack, look at top 3 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 green Puyo character amongst them, show it to your opponent, and place it into your stock, and discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. Another effect of when this card is reversed in battle, place the top card of your deck to your clock, and then place this card to rest. So the Ocean Prince, the 2/1 Ocean Prince, I think he's pretty hilarious. Every time he attacks, you mill top 3, and you choose a green Puyo amongst them and put it to your stock. So every time he attacks, he gains you an extra stock. But and also he has another effect. He has the forced encore, like the unkillable Sayaka from the very first not Monogatari, the very first Madoka booster. So I think he's pretty cool. She gains you a ton of stock. Every time you attack, you gain a stock. Your opponent can't really get rid of him because he does have the forced encore, which is of course a blessing and a curse. But all that extra stock you gain from the Ocean Prince himself, you can just, since you're gaining so much fucking stock, you can just blow it all away with the fever mode. And I think that's really cool. It's like, so obviously he can come out at level 1 thanks to the level 1, the 1-0, a little selfish Ocean Prince. On offense, a little selfish Ocean Prince is 6k. Because of the full field, he will be, no, it's not 6k, 7k. With a full field, he's 7k, which isn't too shabby. Of course, on defending, he's very weak, but that's not too bad, because when he's sent from your stage to the waiting room, you pay 1 discard, and then you turn into the man himself, the 2-1. So, and if he comes out at level 1, it's not too bad, because he's 8k, he's impervious to suicides, and he gains you extra stock, which is quite nice, and he is unkillable, essentially. Of course, your opponent can use like Wind Trigger against him, which is still very, of course, relevant because of 2 Lover Darkness, which did not get hit, which is fucking hilarious. Anyways, and so yeah, they can't really get rid of him unless he gets Wind Triggered. So I think it's pretty funny. Obviously, this is for the gimmicky Green Puyo deck because you need Green Puyos to make him work. But I think it can be fun, you know, at level 1, you attack with him, 7k, not too bad, he kills something. Next turn, it dies. During your opponent's turn, it dies, you change into the 2-1. The 2-1 attacks, gains you a ton of stock. He keeps, you know, every time he dies, you clock yourself 1 damage. That's not too bad. When you hit level 2, you probably have way more stock than your opponent, and then you can start blowing them away with the fever modes, and then like boom, 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 boom. And I think that can be really fun. So yeah. Definitely, of course, for the gimmicky Green Puyo deck, not for your serious decks, but for the Green Puyo deck, why the hell not? It seems like a lot of fun. Next up, 103k common, Brother Kirotai, Donguri Gaeru, Acorn Frog, Puyo and Frog. So what this card does is, when played from your hand to stage, you may pay cost, which is 2. If you do, choose 1 card from your clock and return it to your hand. Then place the top card of your deck to the clock, and to Brainstorm as well. You can place this card to rest. What the hell? No cost? Wow, that's hilarious. Just place them to rest. Put top 3 cards of your deck to the waiting room. If there's any Green Puyo amongst them, choose one of your characters that gets plus 3k power until the end of the turn. So this Acorn Frog, I think it's pretty hilarious. First effect, when it's played from hand to stage, you pay 2, you get a card from your clock to your hand, then you clock yourself 1 damage. Not too shabby at all. And the second effect is also pretty strange. I didn't realize it had no stock in the beginning. When I saw it, when it was officially leaked, in my head, it just registered to me as pay 1 because that's like all Brainstorms are. But now that I look back at it, it's actually no cost. But anyways, for the green, obviously this is once again for the gimmicky Green Puyo deck because his second effect is not that good without it. You just put him to rest, give one of your characters, if you hit a Green Puyo, give one of your characters plus 3k power, which is quite a high amount of power. And it seems like these Green Puyo cards don't have very much hype. I mean, you can use it with the Ocean Prince, 11k on offense. So yeah, obviously for the Green Puyo gimmicky deck, and for the Green Puyo gimmicky deck, hey, why the hell not run it? And you can also grab any card in your clock. So if you have a fever mode in your clock, you can grab it with the Acorn Frog and go from there. So yeah, overall, once again, another fun card for the Green Puyo deck. I think the Green Puyo deck seems pretty hilarious. I'm more of a fan of the Green Puyo deck than the blue one we talked about last week. Hell, even with the Genius Magician combo we saw last week, the one that gets you a shit ton of stock, you can run like the Genius Magician with the stock 1 soul, run it with Ocean Prince, run it with a million Green Puyos, run Fever Mode, run these 3 cards, and then you can build a ton of stock and just blow away your opponents, huh? I think that'd be pretty fun. On to the next card. We talked about Shinobu. I still think it's pretty bad. Next up, we got the 0/0 1500 uncommon. The partnership is united with Oshino Shinobu, Strange and Blood trait. I think this card is not too shabby. Continuous, all your other strange characters get plus 500 power, so 500 global, and it has another effect. When this card is played from hand to stage, and the level, or pretty much when they have experience 4, you can pay cost, which is discard a card. If you do, search your deck for one strange character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this Shinobu and Araragi, I don't think it's too bad. First of all, it's a 500 global, and it being a 500 global already makes it not too shabby. And it does scale somewhat nicely into the late game. When you have experience 4, which of course you have to be level 2 to have the experience 4, because of course it's impossible to have experience 4 at level 0 and 1. So starting at level 2, when you have experience 4 or higher, every time you play from hand to stage, you can discard a card, and you can search for a strange character and add it to your hand. So I think this is a pretty cool way to discard excess climaxes in your hand while getting some extra benefits out of it. And of course, because you are searching every time you do so, you are compressing yourself by 1 damage. So I think it's kind of cool. I don't think it's too shabby at all. Early mid stage of the game acts as a 500 global, and late game or mid to late game still acts as a 500 global, and can also get you a couple searches off at the same time. Will this card be used, however? I'm not too sure. I mean, yellow is so easy. It's so easy to just first of all, yellow to have yellow in your deck is very easy to do with like the 0/0 Hachikuchi, the Stock Suicider, even the Plus Brainstorm from the very first booster if you want to run that one. You know, very easy to run yellow into your deck. And yellow has a lot of good ways to search your deck as it is. You know, if you want to search anything level 1 or lower, you can use the 0/0 Hachikuchi. If you want to grab any other like character, you can use the ClimaxCombo with the 1/0 Shinobu. And yeah, like you already have so much searching as it is. If you want to discard excess climaxes in your hand, you could just play the 0/0 Ononoki from your hand to the field. And you know, the 0/0 Ononoki quite nice. It gives power on play, and you get to reveal top, add it to your hand, discard a card. And the 0/0 Ononoki is useful. You can use the 0/0 Ononoki any stage of the game, while the 0/0 Araragi and Shinobu can only be used at level 2 or higher. So yeah, you know, this card does fill. You know, this card is quite nice in my opinion, but you know, there are other cards that kind of do what this card does already. You know, yellow already has a lot of ways to search, which this Shinobu does, and the 0/0 Ononoki is an excellent way to discard climaxes, which is also another good thing about this card. So yeah, I mean, it's a solid card, and it's only uncommon, so in that regard, I think it's pretty good, but I'm not too sure if it's too necessary. Sorry, I had to give a quick pause, but anyways, like I said, really solid, but how necessary is it? I'm not too sure. Also, if you're running red, you can like run the 1/0 Senjo we talked about a couple weeks back, the experience I think 2, and on play you can discard to check top 4. I mean, there's a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of other cards that kind of do what this card does, so I'm not too sure. And if you wanted an assist, I think the 0/0 Hanakawa assist is really good as well. So, I mean, I think this card is really solid, but will it be ran? Okay, in the end, I think it's solid. However, will it be ran? I don't think so. But if it does end up being run, I wouldn't be too surprised because it's really solid. So I'll leave it at that. And it's only a fucking uncommon too. It's like, holy shit. Next up, we have this 1/0 backup. Uncommon, 1k, former human, Ononoki Yotsugi, strange and dull. First of all, it's a 1k backup. Second, when you use this backup, you may pay cost, which is 1. If you do, choose one of your level 1 or lower characters with Koyomi or Mayoi in its name, place it into memory, then during the start of your next draw phase, you may place that character from your memory to any border on your stage. So this card, I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea behind it, but alas, I do not think it will be ran. because the fact that you have to target a Koyomi or an Araragi, or a Koyomi or a Mayoi to get the effect off. Because, and also be level 1 or lower, because the main beaters for like the level 1 lineup will mainly constitute of Shinobus, Sengokus, Kambarus. I think it really just depends on the colors. But we haven't seen any like really strong Koyomi or Mayoi level 1 beaters. And if that's the case, then there's not many targets for you to run this on, because you must target a Koyomi or a Mayoi. And if they don't constitute a lot of your level 1 and level 0 game, then she doesn't really have much targets to work off, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's enough targets to make her viable. And even if there was, I'm still not too sure if this is going to be ran, because there's already a really strong backup you could be running for blue at level 1, which is, of course, I'm sure we all know, which is the this annoying ass backup way back in the days. When you use this backup, pay 2, give a character -1 level or -1 soul for the turn. I think this is a fantastic backup, and I'm sure it will still be ran because it's kind of like the OG anti-damage, kind of. So I still think this one is better. So I don't, just use this as your level 1 backup that scales really well into the late game than this somewhat gimmicky 1-0 backup that doesn't have many targets to run off in the beginning. So I wouldn't bother with this. And it's Yotsuki. Hate Yotsuki. Anyways, more Puyo Puyo madness. 002K uncommon, the lovely magician of your dreams, Amitai. Puyo and hat trait. So when you play Climax onto your Climax border, choose one of your characters. It gets plus 1k power until the end of the turn. It's a brainstorm. You can pay 1, tap 2, mill top 4. If there's any red Puyo amongst those cards, choose one Puyo character from your waiting room and return it to your hand. So a plus salvage red brainstorm, but of course instead of Climaxes, you use red Puyos instead, which can be very interesting. So overall, what am I doing? So to review this card, I think it's fairly solid. Her first effect is very strong. Whenever you play a Climax, choose one of your characters gets plus 1k, just like the Married Life Asuna and the 00 Chitoge PR. This effect is fairly solid, and the brainstorm I think is pretty cool as well. Of course, as we all can see, this is for your red Puyo gimmick deck because this card synergizes with the red Puyo. But for the red Puyo gimmicky deck, I think it can be very powerful because for every red Puyo you hit, you salvage. And of course, you're going to be running a lot of red Puyos, so you have a chance of hitting multiple Puyos in one brainstorm. You pay 1, tap 2, you hit 3 red Puyos, oh shit, you plus 3. That's fucking crazy. So for the red Puyo deck, I think this is a lot of fun. Can generate you a ton of advantage because of how many red Puyos you are going to be running anyway. So yeah, I think it's really cool. A great first ability with a pretty hilarious second ability for the red Puyo deck. Overall, I think it's very strong, has my stamp of approval, and it's only uncommon too. Next up we got, where's the red Puyo? Here we go. Before we get started, we should talk about the red Puyo, huh? 001500, it's the same thing as all the other Puyo, or the colored Puyos I should say. You can run as many as you want, and gets plus 2k for every other of its own color Puyo in the front row. So in this case, the red Puyo, for every red Puyo in your front row, gets plus 2k power. So the full field will be 5/5. Anyways, on to the next card. 103k double R, Bio and Amitai, Puyo and Hat. Her first effect is this card gains the name Red Puyo while it's on the stage. I'm not too sure how important that is, but the other two effects are fairly strong. First of all is a level 1 Suicider. And secondly, it combos with the Climax Bio N, which is this plus 2 soul right here. Man, I feel like it's been a while since we've seen a plus 2 soul Climax combo, huh? But anyways, when your opponent levels up and you have the Climax Bio N in your Climax border, and this card's in your center stage, you may choose one character from your waiting room and return it to your hand. So overall, I think this card is fairly solid. The first effect is, I'm sure, just for flavor. But first, it's a level 1 Suicider first of all, which like I said many times, if your set has a level 1 Suicider, you could consider running it. And the second effect is can be fairly powerful, because when your opponent levels up, and if she's in the front row, then you get to salvage a character for free, which I think can be pretty powerful. And of course, you are running the +2 soul with this, and so if you have like 3 of these level 1 suiciders, and you have 3 of these, you play the +2 soul, you push for damage. If your opponent levels up, then you get to salvage for free, which I think can be really, really good. And if your opponent is if you hit level 1 before your opponent, like let's say your opponent's level 0 and you're level 1, you play Bio-N, you play Amitai, and like a random character, you play the +2 soul, then of course your opponent's probably going to level up because they're still level 0. You force them to level up to level 1, and then you get to salvage for free. And in this case, you get to salvage 2, which is pretty ridiculous. I think this combo can be very powerful if you hit level 1 faster than your opponent. But even if your opponent hits level 1 faster than you, I still think it can be pretty good. But so yeah, overall, I think this combo is fairly solid. She herself, without the combo, is solid. Like, you don't have to run her climax combo. You could just run her purely for level 1 suicider. If you do run her like that, then it's pretty not that good because it's just a vanilla level 1 suicider. But I mean, still not too bad. But with the climax combo, I think it can be fairly good. However, will this be ran? Will the climax combo be ran? I'm not too sure. We still have lots of cards to see for Puyo, and I think the level 3 Bio and Arie, the one that's very similar to Yami, I think that one is going to be staple just because of how powerful it is. And so the other 4 climaxes, I mean, it can be a little iffy. Do you really want to run 4 wind triggers and 4 +2 souls? I don't know, maybe you want a couple plus triggers while you're at it. So, I think the climax combo can be strong, and especially because how the set works. Like, it has a runner, and you have a level 0 Riki. Where's level 0 Riki? Right here. So you can't hit level 1 faster than your opponent because you're clocking yourself with the level 0 Riki clone, and you are running. So, this does have a potential of actually going off in this scenario where I mentioned, where you hit level 1 faster than your opponent, and then you shit on them, and you plus 1,000,000, and then you can plus 1,000,000 again when they hit from 1 to 2. But will it be ran just because of how the climax lineup is going to work? I'm not too sure. But as a standalone card, it's not too bad because it is a level 1 suicider. So, she's still very playable without her climax combo, but with her climax combo, she's of course a lot better. But will the climax combo be ran? We'll just have to see. The red Puyo we talked about, and once again, Sig is back. 2/1/2/5 common Bug Lover Sig, Puyo and Bug. When this card is played from hand to stage, place the top 3 cards of your deck to the waiting room. If there's any red Puyo amongst those cards, you may choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower center stage character and send it to the owner's waiting room. So once again, of course, for the red Puyo waifu/gimmicky deck. And for the red Puyo gimmick deck, I think it can be pretty solid. On play, you mill top 3. If there's a Puyo amongst those, which is most likely going to be because you're running a lot of red Puyos, you kill any of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters in the front row and put it to the waiting room. Kinda sucks he only targets the front row. If he targeted the back row as well, I think it'd be a lot cooler. But still, not too bad. It's kinda, quote unquote, kind of like an anti-change backup, because you play him, you mill top 3. If you hit a red Puyo, and if your opponent has a level 3 at level 2, which is very likely going to happen just because of how the meta is, then you kill it for free, which is really good. However, the downside is that this isn't exactly reliable, because if you don't hit any red Puyos, then it kind of sucks because you're just left with a 2/5 character. Like, him only being 2/5 is ridiculously weak. Like, why? Level 0s can kill him. So if it goes off and your opponent has a level 3 in the front row, he can be really strong. But of course, if he doesn't go off, then you're left with a 2/5 character, which really sucks. Like, his low power is so bad, but I mean, what can you do? Obviously, he's for the red Puyo deck. If you're in the red Puyo deck, why the hell not run it? But still, the low power kind of irks me. And that's it, and on to Friday. Of course, the cool stuff and the very last day for Monogatari. We have 104KR, Coincidence, Senju Gahara Hitagi, Strange. 500 Global for Strange character, and it has a combo with this gold bar here, which is his Climax common. what a best friend can do is place on your Climax border, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a strange character, place it to your stock, and choose one character and gets plus 500 power until the end of the turn. This 1-0 Senjo, it's okay. 500 global. Like I said with the Mayoi, 500 global, not too bad at all. And with the Shinobu, not too bad at all. But however, the Climax combo, it's a little weird. When you play the gold bar, you reveal top, and if it's a strange, if it goes to your stock, and then you give it additional 500 power. The additional power can be nice, but still, I don't think it's very necessary. It can have some cool synergy with like the 0-0 Hanakawa assist we talked in the very first week, because the 0-0 Hanakawa can check top for you before you play the Climax combo, so that way you can guarantee the Climax combo in conjunction with the 0-0 Hanakawa. But once again, I don't think it's very necessary, because this Climax combo is like, you can start using it at level 1, but at level 1, we already have a very powerful Climax combo, which is the Shinobu Climax combo, and I think you'd rather be spamming Shinobu Climax combos than this Gold Bar Climax combo. And without the Gold Bar, this card is just a 500 global, vanilla, and why run a 500 vanilla? Why have run a 500 global vanilla assist when you could be running a 500 global like this, or a 500 global like this? So, don't think it's necessary. I think there's much better Climax combos you could be running, like the Shinobu Climax combo, and the next one we'll talk about right now. So right now we have the card that I've been talking about. Like I said last week, I think this is kind of going to be the other combo everyone's going to run with the flare triggers, and I definitely think she's going to be quite the powerhouse. So 3295 double R, serious look, even though she doesn't look really serious, she looks more happy if anything. Serious look Senjo Gahara Hitagi, strange and stationary. Experience 6, if you have experience 6 or higher, she gets plus 1500 power. So she's pretty much 11k. Second effect, when it's played from hand to stage, you get to draw 2, ditch 1. Combos with the gate, which is Climax rare. On attack with the gate, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. So this Senjo, before we get started, I'd like to mention that she does have experience 6, which I'm very glad she did. I was kind of worried because like there's a lot of level 3s in this set that doesn't require experience 6. You know, the levels 3 Hachikuji, no experience. The level 3 Hanakawa we talked about last week, the clock shooter, doesn't need experience. Forelock Girl, Sengoku Naruto, does not need experience. The only level 3 that needs experience in this set was like the level 3 Shinobu. Oh yeah, the level 3 Kanbaru doesn't need experience 6. So I was kind of getting worried. I was like, if the new level 3 Shinobu is the only level 3 that requires to have experience 6, then people might not even choose to have experience 6 in the new Monogatari decks, because if everyone's running the new cards, and if none of those new cards need experience 6, then what's the fucking point? But now that we have this new Senjo that requires experience 6, I'm very glad they did so, because I really like how Monogatari needs experience 6, because experience is a cool mechanic. I really like it, so I'm really glad this new Senjo has experience 6, because without it, I don't think people would even bother hitting experience 6, because like there was really no point. But just a small thing I really want to mention now. So she has experience 6, which I'm really happy she does. And if she do have experience 6, she'll be 11k, which is very nice. A very strong, or a strong level 3. On play, draw 2, ditch 1. Draw 2, ditch 1, not too shabby at all. Definitely helps you dig for the gate, and when you do play the gate, it's pretty strong. You attack with the gate, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. You know, very straightforward, but nothing to scoff at. So yeah, overall, I think very solid. I think this will be the other combo everyone's going to be running. You know, 4 flare triggers, 4 gates. I think that's a very strong Climax lineup already. And both combos, and both the flare trigger and the gate, they both combo with a very powerful cards. So I definitely think this will be the new Climax, the other Climax that everyone's going to be running with their flare triggers, because I just think it's so good. I mean, at level 3, I think this card has a really nice synergy with like the level 3 Hachikuji as well. Play Hachikuji, heal, target your Senjo. Now your Senjo has on attack burn with the combo, and on cancel burn 1, and it's attacking for 4 soul, because the 1k1 soul from the wind trigger from the gate and the 1 soul from Hachikuchi, and I think that's just really strong. And if you trigger a flare trigger like Hachikuchi targets Senjo, Senjo attacks with the gate, you burn 1, she deals 5. If it's cancelled, they take 1 damage, 1 at a time. They take 1 damage 2 times, so 1, 1. So I think that can be really scary and can be really cool. And the art on this Senjo is really nice as well, so overall, really like this Senjo. I think it's great. I think you should be running 3 to 4 of these Senjos, because I just think it's very powerful. Next up, we got 1/1 6K uncommon new recognition. Recognition. Senjo Hakata Hitaki, strange trait. If you have 2 or more strange characters, gets plus 1K, and she has hand encore. Very simple card. 1/7Ks with hand encore or clock encore. We've seen these time and time again. Nothing too special, but it's not too bad either. If you want to run it, go ahead. But I honestly don't think it's very necessary. You know, for level 1 lineup, we got Senjos, or we got the 0/0, we got the 1/0 Shinobus, and we got Kambarus, and we got Sengokus. You know, if you're running green, you can even run the 1/0 Kaiki, the one that gives minus 500 on play. A good way to pop your opponent's back row assist. So lots of level 1 options at this point. Was this one really necessary? I don't really think so. Next up, this card, 2/1 2/5 uncommon. First of all, it's a level 1. It's a 2/5 backup, and second effect, or the first effect, I'm sure it will sound familiar to us. When you use this backup, you may pay cost, which is pay 2, send one of your characters from your stage to the waiting room. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters that's level 3, or that's whose level is greater than your opponent's level, and send it to its owner's waiting room. So anti-change backup. If your set has anti-change backup, you should definitely consider running it because it's very powerful. And in this case, it's just like the Nisekoi one, which is also very powerful because of how the cost works. The cost requires you to pay 2, kill one of your characters. Very heavy, but you killing off your character can have some really great benefits at level 3. Dodge on reverse climax combos, and it can really put a kink in your opponent's plan by doing so. So yeah, and anti-damage backup. That can be very powerful at level 3 as well. Just like the Nisekoi one, definitely going to be stable. Run 1 or 2 of these because it can be a real lifesaver in starting at level 2 and at level 3. So yeah, and the art's really cute on this. And that's it for Monogatari. Lastly, onto Puyo. We got double R's for Puyos as well. 1045 double R, studying alchemy, witch, Puyo, and magic. When this card plays from hand to stage, this card gets power plus X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of Puyo character you control multiplied by 500. So with a full field, she'll be a 7K, because she does include herself. Combos with What an Idiot, which is the stock 1 soul right here. When this card declares an attack with a stock 1 soul, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Puyo character, add it to your hand. So this studying alchemy witch, I don't think it's too shabby. On offense, she is 7K with a full field, which isn't too bad. Combos with a stock 1 soul, once again, not too bad at all either. And it can potentially plus you. On attack, reveal top. If it's a Puyo character, you add it to your hand. Not as versatile as something like Minami or Tachibana or that one from Girlfriend Beta, because those can like search or salvage. Or the new Shinobu as well, salvages. Not as how should I say reliable and not as versatile as those, because you can't really control what you're grabbing. I mean, you can use like an on play a top checker, because like you play that, if you see a Puyo character on top, then on your battle phase you can attack with the level 1 witch first. That way you can guarantee whatever on top you can add it to your hand. But still, it's like you don't have many options to do so because you only could grab the top one. And if you have multiple of these witches in play, you can't really guarantee all of them. You can't really guarantee all of them, you know? You only have a top checker, and of course the top checker will only check the top, and that way you can't guarantee the other two, so you can't really use multiple of these consistently. I mean, it's nice that you don't have to reverse something because it's guaranteed, like quote-unquote guareteed, because you don't have to kill something. But if you don't reveal a Puyo character, then the climax combo completely whiffs. So, I mean, it's not too bad, but kind of want a better on. I just want a normal on reverse climax combo that pluses. You know, something like Minami, something like Tachibana, something like Shinobu. They just need something more straightforward. You know, like this one's all right, but it's not as good. And Genius Magician gives you a ton of stock, but you know, I want something that just gives you a solid plussing. 1500 TD. Okay, so this is like the first TD card this week. Not losing to anybody in happiness, Amitai. Well, lucky her, I guess she's always happy, huh? Puyo on hat. First of all, level 0 Suicider. And when it's played for hand to stage, look at top card of your deck and either leave it there or put it to the waiting room. So, very solid card for a TD in my opinion. Level 0 Suicider and on play top checker. Two very solid abilities. Why the hell not run it? I don't think I really have to say anymore, right? I mean, two very good effects. So, very good level 0 Suicider. Can also have some nice synergy with the level 1 we just talked about. Like I said, with the top checker, you can make her first alchemy you attack with more consistent. So, you know, you can use these two together. Because if you're buying the boosters, you're probably gonna pick up a trial deck anyway. So, definitely a very solid trial deck card. Very, very solid trial deck card. Next up, we got more SIG action, 1500 TD. Man, why has he got the red arm? He's like, I don't know, Nero from Devil May Cry. Anyways, oh, this one's just SIG. He's not a bug lover this time. Puyo and Bug. When this card is reversed in battle, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or greater, you may place that card to your stock. Or place this card to your stock, I'm sorry. So he's kind of cool when he dies. Reveal top. If it's level 1 or greater, which has a high chance of doing so, you put him to your stock. So you get a free stock when he dies. If you reveal top, if it's level 1 or greater, which has a decent chance too. So not too bad. I'm always a fan of getting extra stock. You know, he doesn't, you know, he gains you an extra stock. However, it's not very consistent, and he's pretty low power. So I think he's an interesting card, but will he be ran? I'm not too sure. He doesn't have much impact. Like, he doesn't really help your board state. And he's very low power. And he has a chance of whiffing. So, you know, he's cool. I like him, but, you know, I don't think he's going to be ran because he just doesn't do that much for you in the end. And, yeah, he just doesn't do that much for you in the end. And he has a chance of, like, whiffing, and when he whiffs, it's just like, fuck, that sucks. You pretty much ran a 1500 vanilla, which is very bad. And lastly, the last card for this week, 2-1 TD Primp Magic Academy. They should just call it Pimp Magic. Anyways, Brainstorm. Choose one of your Brainstorm. Choose one character from your waiting room. Return it to your hand. Then overturn or mill top 3 cards of your deck. Put them to the waiting room. If there's any climaxes amongst those cards, choose one character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. This event I don't think is very impressive. You pay 1, you salvage a character. That's not too bad. You mill top 3. If there's any climaxes amongst those, then you get to salvage again. So this card, you pretty much pay 1 to potentially salvage 2. Huh, it's actually not too bad. At first, I was like, oh, this card kind of sucks. But now that I actually read it again, it's actually kind of cool. Okay, for a trial deck card, I think this card is actually pretty cool. You pay 1 to salvage. Not the greatest thing ever, but it's not too bad. But then you mill 3. If you hit a climax, then you get to salvage again. So you can potentially pay 1 to salvage 2, which can be pretty strong. So, okay, for a trial deck card, I think this card is pretty fun, and it's not too shabby at all. However, will this be ran in the main deck? I'm not too sure. Will it be strong enough? I don't think so, but we'll see. I think it's pretty cool, especially for a trial deck card. But when the actual booster comes out, you know, I think there'll be better options than this. So I think you could get away with not running this in the main deck. I mean, the deck already has a pretty decent way to plus with the with her. So I mean, we'll see. And that is all for this week. How long is this video? An hour 29 minutes. Very long, but hey, as we can see, there are a lot of cards this week. And overall, a very solid week I would say a very solid week for Monogatari. For Puyo Puyo, they showed off some interesting stuff, but a lot of gimmicky cards this week, like a lot of red Puyo gimmicky cards and a lot of green Puyo gimmicky cards. those aren't really my taste, but I'm sure there are many people that are excited for these. So overall, this is, like I said, the final week for Monogatari, and like always, I'll do a little review on what I think about the Monogatari booster just from the leaks themselves. Overall, I'm very pleased with this booster. I think it's very, very powerful. This is definitely what Monogatari needed. At the very beginning of the Monogatari leaks, I was kind of I was kind of ranting on how I really like Monogatari as a series, but I always thought it had a cool concept. They had a lot of cool, interesting tech cards with some very funky abilities, which I think is a lot of fun. They had the whole Experience 6 mechanic, which I really loved. But the first booster, it was pretty solid for its time. Nisamono didn't do that much for it, so I was really hoping Monogatari second season booster would give it that extra push it needed to be competitive, and I definitely think it did so. The double R's are very strong all across the board. The 2 yellow double R's are ridiculous. Shinobu and Hachikuchi themselves, very, very powerful cards. Those alone, you need, I would say, a playset of both, which is going to be very difficult to get, but still. 2 very powerful double R's. The green double R's are very powerful as well. You have, Hanekawa and... what was the other double R? The Senjo Brainstorm? Okay, yeah, I think the Senjo, but, those 2 strong double R's as well. Red has some strong double R's. The Kanbaru and the Senjo, very, very powerful in my opinion. The blue double R's, Ononoki, very powerful. Sengoku, she's okay, but still, Ononoki herself is very powerful. The set got many things that it needed to keep up with the other top tier sets. The only thing I think it's really missing is like a level 3 that can come out of level 2. They did get one in this new Kanbaru, but will this new Kanbaru be ran? Like I said many times, I'm not too sure, but still, like every other level is very solid. Level 0 is very solid now. Level 1 very strong, and the new level 3 lineup I think can be very strong as well. I definitely think you can make a Monogatari booster. I think you can make a very strong Monogatari booster just from this booster alone. Maybe if you're an American player and you're thinking about getting Monogatari, I would probably say just wait until Monogatari second season comes to the US. Because, these cards are so strong. I think it will change everything about how Monogatari is played. I don't even think you need the old cards. Like, I think the level 3 lineup can be, like, 3 or 4 of these Hachikuchis, 3 or 4 of these Senjos. I think it really depends on what colors you're running. For yellow, you could run, like, 3 or 4 of these Hachikuchis, definitely. If you run yellow-red, you can run, like, 3. You can run, like, 4 Hachikuchis, 4 Senjos. If you're running yellow-green, you can run, like, 4 Hachikuchis, 3 or 4 Hanekawas. If you're running yellow, green, red, which is probably what I would try doing, you can run like 3 Hachikuchis, 3 Senjos, and 2 level 3 Hanekawas. If you're running yellow, red, or if you're running like a dual color, you can run like Hachikuchi, Senjo, some level 3 Shinobus, and maybe like 1 Kiss Shot that we talked about. I don't know, lots of different things you can do with the level 3 lineup, just depending on what colors you're running. But I definitely think I really don't think you need any of the cards from the old booster. So if you're an American player and you haven't invested into Monogatari yet, but you want to do so, I would just say wait for the new booster, because I think it's just so strong. And not just the double R's, the R's and like all the other cards too in this set, I think are really fun and really strong. Like the level 0 Hanekawa assist, this one is good. The Hachikuchi is just an R and it's strong. This Hachikuchi is good. Just so many good cards all across the board. So I'm really pleased that Monogatari did end up like this, and I definitely think it will have a strong future. And, like I said, I think you can make boosters just from this set alone, so if you're a Japanese player, I would say you can totally, and if you want to get into Monogatari, might be a little expensive, maybe wait for the prices to die down, because right now the cards are really expensive, but definitely if you're looking to get into Monogatari, I really don't think you need any of the old cards. Just buy all the new cards, and I think you'll be good to go. So, yeah, I'm just super happy with how Monogatari turned out. So, I think that's all for this video, guys. This video is an hour and 34 minutes, and once again, I do apologize for this one being late, but please bear with me. Thank you guys for, being patient, but I'll try getting next week's video out soon as well. So, that's all for this video. I think we start Schoolgirl Strikers next, right? Yeah, so I think next week, or the next video, will consist of Schoolgirl Strikers and Puyo. which should be fun because I am somewhat looking forward to Schoolgirl Strikers and how the set's going to be played. So yeah, now that's all for this video, guys, and until next time.